Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi and today we're taking a look at the new Guerlain Red Vanda collection, or the Lunar New Year collection for 2023. And I picked up the lipsticks. So there are 3 lipsticks. There's 1 lipstick case. There's also an eyeshadow quad. I did not pick that one up. It just wasn't, an interest for me at this time. But this case here, you can see this is actually a very fine velvet. And you can see you kind of have this like red, kind of like a scaly look here with a little bit of a deeper gray shade in there. And if you're familiar with the Guerlain Rouge G cases, you do have the double mirror on the inside. To get this closed, you need to insert a lipstick. It does come with a little piece of tape here. It also comes with a velour case. So you purchase the cases and the lipsticks separately. So the lipsticks come like this. They are completely usable this way. And it does come with this like heavy duty plastic cap here. And yes, when you insert this in the case, essentially this little G logo here that you can see is raised. See that G? That's what is going to kind of clip this closed here. So that's how the case will stay closed. If you are looking for the color number, it is going to be down here at the bottom. They can be a little bit hard to see in some of the lighting, but they have made them darker in the last year or so. So it's a little bit easier. If you see an M at the end, for example, this one here is number 966M. The M is standing for a metallic. And then V is for velvet. And then the satins don't have anything labeled after them. So this collection has 3 lipsticks. We have 1 of each of those finishes. Let's start with swatches. We're going to start off with the one that's on my lips, and that is number 770 in the Velvet Formula Red Vanda. And the name of this case is also Red Vanda. And you can get the cases engraved. If you purchase from Guerlain, which is where these are currently available, you can get the mirror engraved right here. And that is free on Guerlain.com. So this is 770 Red Vanda in the velvet finish. We're going to go vertically with these so we can do some comparison swatches. You can see how this builds up. This is going to be a lightweight velvet. It's non-drying, but it's not hydrating either. So it just kind of is, but it's a very light layer of pigment. You can definitely dab this on. There's enough grip on here that you can just dab a little bit and get a really nice finish on it, or you can really build it up like we did here in the swatch. You can see here that this is going to be a neutral red, and it might appear that it leans a little bit warm, and it does slightly, but it's definitely neutral. And we'll see some comparisons with that in a few minutes. Next, we have the satin lipstick in 918 Red Ballerina. And this is just such a stunning shade here. And the Guerlain Rouge G satins are, in my opinion, some of the best ones out there. I absolutely love them. You can see this is definitely going to be a cooler tone, more berry type shade of red. Really beautiful. Look at the sheen on those satins. And again, the satins for Rouge G also have a little bit more grip on them, so you don't have to worry so much about feathering or, bleeding, on the edges of the lips. So I definitely think that is a really great feature and something that sets apart the Rouge G satins from some of the others. They're not overly creamy. And last up, the third shade is number 966. This is going to be in the Velvet Metallic formula, and this is Red Firestar. You can see just looking at it that you do have a metallic finish here, and you can see that this is going to be a warmer red here. So these are the 3. We have Red Vanda, Red Ballerina, and Red Firestar. Let's take a look at some lip swatches while we talk a little bit about each of these. Starting with the Velvet Formula, this is going to be a thin, lightweight velvet matte, and it's really going to give you just a very light layer of pigment. You can definitely build this up, and it's going to be pretty weightless on the lips. You don't really feel any, there's none of that like dry powdery texture, but there's also none of that like creamy consistency either. It's just kind of like a light layer of pigment. and I find them to be, pretty comfortable. It's kind of like there's nothing there. So one of the great things about them though is that they are very buildable. They last, a long time like a traditional matte lipstick would. These are not going to be transfer or mask proof, but they do hold up really well. And again, if you would like to extend the wear of a lipstick, just blot it, reapply, blot and reapply a couple of times, and that works really well with this formula. So I have to say the Red Vanda shade is actually this one and the Red Ballerina are my two favorites from this collection. Let's move on to Red Ballerina. Now, the Red Ballerina is a satin shade, and I really love it. I love these cooler berry tones, yet this one is not overly berry. We're going to compare this to the Berry Alchemy shade from the holiday collection. But you can see that this one, right off the bat, you can tell this one is going to have more red on it, a little bit less purple. And the satin formula for the Rouge G is definitely one of my favorites because, as I mentioned, it does have a little grip, so it stays put a little bit better. You're looking at 4 to 5 hours of wear time, which is slightly longer than other satin lipsticks. And this one feels very comfortable and slightly hydrating on the lips as well. So I find these are definitely one of my favorite satin formulas, out of all brands. Moving on to the Red Firestar, the Velvet Metallic formula. I really like this. This is a new formula, and I love how these give you that metallic finish without being overly metallic. So, you can make this kind of subtle, so you just kind of have a hint of that metallic look, or you can really build it up and get more of that sheen. Now, this definitely is going to lean warm. It has a little bit more of like a salmon pink vibe mixed with the red in there. And I do think it's, a really beautiful finish. These are also like the Velvet formula. These are going to be pretty weightless on the lips as well. They're going to feel like a very thin layer of pigment. As a matter of fact, they feel slightly thinner than the regular Velvet, but you don't have any of that how sometimes when you wear a metallic lipstick, you feel a little grittiness, little metallic pieces. There is none of that. This is completely smooth. It feels very comfortable. So I have to say, I really like them, and they do hold up as well as the regular velvets. So we're looking at, anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, or if you want to blot and reapply, you can go, well past that as well. Now, according to Guerlain, the Velvet and the Velvet Metallic formulas both have 16-hour high pigmentation. And I would say that's true as long as you note that it's not going to look perfectly fresh for 16 hours. But you're definitely still going to have pigment there. You're still going to have lipstick there. It will just look a little bit worn once you get to that 16-hour point. So, I would say, though, that they are definitely going to be a long-wearing lipstick and very comfortable, very easy to top off. If you top it off with a gloss or a lip balm, like, for example, even a clear matte lip balm, you can totally refresh it and make it look freshly applied. We're going to start off with some comparisons for the Velvet Metallic formula. And we're starting off here with number 880. And this shade 880 does come in formulas other than the metallic as well. I definitely have that in, I believe, a regular velvet. You can see that this is going to be cooler in tone. And this formula is, again, pretty new. This came out just when the butterfly cases came out. This one here is 530. And a lot of the shades in the Velvet Metallic can also be found in just the regular velvet formula as well. Now, 530, you can see it's going to be a little bit rosier. So it just has a little bit more pink than Red Firestar, which just has a little bit more of that like orangey vibe to it. This one here is 721. And you can see this is going to be a cooler, it has a little bit of berry, but it's going to be more of a pinker berry than something like the Red Ballerina. And then we have number 829. So here's number 829. You can see this one's going to be a little bit more purple. So you can see how the Velvet Metallic shades, I do have most of these, if not all of them. You can see that this really does kind of fill in a missing spot, adding a warmer shade to the collection. And it really gives a nice, kind of that like more corally red. I think it's really gorgeous. Unfortunately, I don't really have any other metallic lipsticks to really add to this comparison, but let's look at these other finishes here. All right, let's move up the arm. We'll go to the Red Ballerina shade here. And we're going to start off with one of the holiday lipsticks. This is number 777. And this is the Velvet formula, but this is called Berry Alchemy. And I just wanted to show you how this compares because it is going to have a similar shade here, but you can see there's a bit more of this like brighter pinky purple shade in Berry Alchemy than in the Red Ballerina, which has a bit more red. It's going to be a little bit warmer, but still in the cool side of the spectrum. This here is a satin in 1870. I'm going to put this one right up here. This is part of the Guerlain Legendary Reds that came out last year for Lunar New Year. You can see this is going to be a bit more of a true neutral brick red, and it's not really going to match too well with any of these, but it is going to be the cooler one from last year's collection. So I wanted to compare that. This is a satin in 81. This is just part of the regular permanent collection, and you can see here that this shade is going to be a bit more of a muted, kind of a mauve lavender kind of shade, but it's going to be more of that like dusty kind of shade versus something more vibrant. This here is a Chantecaille Lip Chic in the shade Orchid. Just want to show you how much more purple that one is. So you can see that's right here. And let's just do one more comparison. This is Burberry in Olympia Red, which is going to be a pretty similar shade. It, again, it's going to have a touch more berry though. Just want to add one more comparison here for the metallic down here, the Velvet Metallic. This was one of the limited edition Cle de Peau lipsticks. This is in 522 Cosmic Red, and you can see that they are going to have a kind of similar color story. This is going to be, the Cle de Peau is just a little bit more nude. There's a little bit more brown in there. It's more of a nude peach kind of red, whereas this is going to be more of a coral red, but they are pretty close. All right, this is 1925 in the satin version, and it also comes in the Velvet Matte as well. This is from last year's Lunar New Year collection from Guerlain. You can see that this is going to be a bit more orangey red. It's going to be pretty vibrant. And here is the velvet version of that. You can see the velvet and the satin are going to be similar, but ever so slightly different because of the finishes. But again, the red Vanda shade is going to be cooler in tone. This one here is 880, and we looked at this in the metallic. That was this one here in the metallic. This is going to be in the regular finish. And this is actually my closest shade match to Red Vanda. They're very close, but there is a slight difference. You can see here that 880 is going to be just a little bit deeper in color, whereas the Red Vanda is a little bit brighter and just ever so slightly cooler. But 880 is going to be the closest. So 880 Velvet versus the Red Vanda, which is 770 Velvet. Just a couple more quick comparisons. This is the Dior Velvet in 999. You can see that's going to be warmer. And this is Chanel number 99 in Pirate. So you can see that's going to be cooler. It's kind of a cross in between the Red Ballerina and the Red Vanda. And another classic red. This is the Givenchy L'Interdit number 36. You can see how those compare. So overall, I would say that 36 is going to be your closest to Red Vanda out of these three classics, but this is going to be a little bit more neutral. It's a little bit warmer than Red Vanda, and it's going to be a bit more pigmented as well. So I hope these comparisons were helpful. I have to say I really love all three of the new shades. Really happy to have added those to my collection. I think it's a gorgeous collection. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love to know your thoughts. Please share them down below in the comments, and I'll see you very soon. Have a wonderful day.